So we have this sort of incredible rise of the mobile phone. And this is an important chart because this is how much time we spend on online devices every day. And I know it depends to the American market, but the trends are pretty much the same everywhere, which is between 2008 and 2015, you can see how much time, the green is mobile, the blue is desktop. So effectively, our screen time has doubled in the space of 10 years. So in the UK, 10 years ago, you would be watching or consuming 10 hours, roughly, a week of screen time. Now, it would be 20. At its peak, television viewing was about 24 hours a week. And that's with no other competing media. And people use their phones while they're watching television. They use their phones now for everything. If you get onto a train carriage and you look around for a newspaper, you won't see one. You'll see people scrolling through their phones. So as the amount of time that we spend increases, the competition really for spending time within those apps is very, very fierce. Pew Research Centre has a look at sort of what people are doing with this time. And when you break down sort of how people use apps on their phone, by far and away the greatest chunk of that is within social media. So sort of nearly 40% or so is actually within what they call a social app. So that would be Twitter, it would be Facebook, it might be Snapchat. These are the absolute sort of dominant apps, more than retail, more than sometimes messaging is also a significant part of that. But as we know, messaging is often part of actually a social platform as well. So spending time in the apps, if you want to get in front of an audience, when you ask people how much time they spend on news or sport or weather apps, it comes out at sort of somewhere around 3%, maybe less than 3%. So unless you're integrated into the social flow of somebody's day and you're a news provider, the chances that you're actually sort of getting in front of them on a regular basis is low. So to recap, people are using their phones, smartphones for everything. It's mostly through apps, and it's particular through social and messaging apps, which are Facebook, WhatsApp, Snapchat, Twitter. And the competition for time within those apps is intense. And each platform really wants to keep people within it. Because for the longer you keep somebody within your app, the more data you find out about them, the more you can see who their friends are, what they like, what they're buying. You can trace them in and out of different articles as long as they stay within the app. The moment they click out of it, they may have some tracking software following them, but also you may lose them. So for the point of view of your advertisers, from the point of view of your business, you're really trying to hang on to those people. Journalism and the delivery of news has become an important part of this battle for attention on mobile. People are curious about what's going on in the world right now. It's actually a very sticky thing. They want to know what their friends have been doing. They want to know how Donald Trump did on Super Tuesday. Turns out to be really quite well. So in this competition for attention, what we like to think of as the four horsemen of the apocalypse, who are all battling for mobile attention and use. Because if you don't, the feeling is if you don't win this market, you effectively won't win any market. So this is why it's so important. It's not just that this is an alternative industry to doing something else, being a broadcaster. It's that if you don't dominate mobile, you will not have a business. And that's why Google, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, and to some extent Microsoft, though they're a little further behind in the mobile game, are having a prolonged and torrid war over whose platforms, technologies, even ideologies are actually going to win this. I think it's as fierce. I mean, it's fiercer really than the newspaper wars in the 70s or the broadcast in the 60s or the broadcast television wars in the 70s. So actually in the last year, something else interesting has happened to journalism, which it's become, suddenly publishers have become really sought after by social media companies. It started a year ago with this thing called Snapchat Discover, which is a rather old-fashioned, almost a bit like an old TV. Each of these publishers has a channel within what they call Snapchat Discover, which is a screen on this messaging app. And each one of these media properties publishes stories straight onto the Snapchat platform. So in other words, they might take what they've done in the Daily Mail or Sky Sports, but they have to make it especially sort of swipeable, and they use lots of pictures, they use lots of graphics, they use a bit of video, and Snapchat sort of launched this with 13, what they call 13 slots, so basically 13 channels for these, and people's the amount of traffic that went back to publishers really exploded. It was suddenly, oh my God, all these 16-year-olds will actually spend hours swiping through Cosmo pictures. So this kicked off a war to include digital publishers within the sort of the walls of social media. So this came first in January last year. Then Facebook, that had actually been thinking about doing something similar to Snapchat Discover, got their act together and they launched something called Facebook Instant Articles. So you good people don't know what Facebook Instant Articles is. How many people know what they are? Nobody. Oh, yes, no, 1, 2. So if you have a newspaper and your newspaper is on the web and you go onto Facebook and somebody sends you a link to an article that you like, and you click on it and you read it, in the olden days, that would have gone back to the newspaper's website. And Facebook don't like that happening for 2 reasons, one of which is they lose your time and attention on their app. But the second reason is because it's actually rather slow to load. News organisations are not very good at making pages that work well for people on mobile phones. That's why Snapchat Discover was actually such a sort of success for publishers, because it was what they call native to the environment. So Facebook Instant Articles mean that instead of publishing, you can publish to your website, but simultaneously your article will appear on a page with the same design and everything, but on a page in Facebook. So it's no longer taking you outside, it's keeping you within Facebook. And so they rolled out this proposition to publishers saying, 6 of you, and I think they picked The Guardian, The New York Times, National Geographic, and 2 or 3 others, can trial this. They rolled it out, I think, in March last year, February, March last year. In September, the Washington Post, remember, that was sold 2 years ago because it couldn't make any money, Jeff Bezos said, we're going to put everything onto Facebook Instant Articles. We're going to go what they call all in. So in other words, now, if you want to read the Washington Post, you can read all of it, but it's within Facebook. And the way that those pages reach you is by either you liking the Washington Post's page, or by your friends sending you or liking links as well, or by Facebook just deciding that you should see it.